In 2019, three disasters hit the planet at the same time. Australia caught fire, an area bigger than England burned, East Africa flooded, and a plague of locusts, the worst in generations, ate everything in between. 3 continents, 3 catastrophes. Because the weather that decides what half the world eats isn't random. It runs on 2 giant dials sitting in the ocean. And right now, they're both turning. You know the first one, El Niño. Every few years the Pacific runs a fever, and the weather goes strange. That one makes the news. But there's a second dial nobody talks about. It's called the Indian Ocean Dipole. Think of it as the Indian Ocean's own version of El Niño. Warm water piles up on one side, cool on the other. And that tilt decides whether Australia burns or East Africa drowns. Here's the part that matters. When the Pacific dial flips, it tends to drag the Indian one with it. They're not the same system, but they run together. And when they both point the wrong way, that's when things break. Which brings us to 2019. That year, the Indian dial swung to one of the strongest settings it's ever recorded. In Australia, it's at the table for the Black Summer. Over 18 million hectares burned. On the other side of the same ocean, the rain reversed. Some places got more than 3 times their normal rainfall, causing major floods which take human life and destroy crops. And all that rain did something almost biblical. It bred locust bugs. Billions of them. The worst swarms East Africa has seen in generations, eating the crops of tens of millions of people. And here's the bad news. That year the Pacific was quiet. El Niño barely showed up. That was the Indian dial alone. Now look at 2026. This time, the Pacific dial is not quiet. El Niño is here, it's strong, and it's building. The National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration gives it an 81% shot at going very strong by winter, and a near lock to run into 2027. And the Indian dial, the one that did all the damage by itself, is now forecast to turn positive right alongside it. All of it on an ocean that just had its warmest June ever measured, running near record heat all year long. So why should you care about a dial in an ocean you'll never see? Because of this. India gets 80% of its water from one rainy season, and that season is currently forecast to come up short. India also sells more rice than the next 4 countries on Earth combined. The last time it got nervous about its harvest, it banned its rice exports, and the world's price for rice jumped double digits in a matter of weeks. And it's not just rice. Cocoa, coffee, sugar, palm oil, they all grow in exactly the tropics these dials dry out. The World Bank warns output in the region could fall anywhere from 20 to 50%. Your chocolate, your morning coffee, all of it runs through this. And it's not just food. The same drought drains the Panama Canal, forcing supervisors to decrease the amount of ships that pass through it, which has a major effect on global trade. Panama is already rationing how heavy a ship is allowed to be, just in case. And every bit of this is landing on a world that's already bleeding. The war with Iran choked the Strait of Hormuz. About a third of the world's fertilizer went through it. When it seized up, fertilizer prices jumped by a third, in some places by half. So in the poorest places, the ones that can't just print subsidies, the crops are going into this drought already underfed. So who's predicted to get hit? Well, the whole world. But forecasters have basically mapped the worst parts. A better than 50-50 shot at a drought across southern Africa, Central America, the Sahel, and a long stretch of South and Southeast Asia. The last strong El Niño left more than 60 million people needing help across 23 countries. And the ocean itself pays too. The last global bleaching event only just ended. It cooked 84% of the world's coral reefs, and the ones that survived are still recovering. Now the heat is climbing again, and the National Oceanic Atmospheric Administration is warning the next one already may be forming. Then there's the heat. Heat already kills more people than any kind of weather. El Niño years run hotter. It stacks its warmth on a planet that's already the warmest it's ever been. For the first time ever, the UN's Food Agency are asking for the money before the disaster, instead of after. All this lands on a world that's already stretched thin. Wars, global trade disruption, terrorism, food insecurity, unemployment, and really the list goes on. When food and water get scarce, hungry countries might choose to compete rather than cooperate. A shock like this isn't just a bad harvest, it's a disruption of global prosperity and peace. Luckily, there is a chance that the dial-up, the Indian dial, doesn't take effect. We can only hope. Thanks for watching, I'll see you in the next one.